Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at Hurricane Dorian, which is now a Category 5 with sustained wind speeds around 185 miles per hour. That is crazy. Today might be a bit longer than normal because we have a lot of detail to go over. Also, I just want to clarify, the reason I was not uploading on Dorian was because I was extremely busy this week. Trust me, if I could, I really would, but I really didn't have any time to upload on Dorian. So starting now, I'm gonna go back to my normal schedule, of uploading once and maybe even twice a day because of this hurricane that could make landfall anywhere from Florida to North Carolina over the next coming days. So let's get right into it. Here we have our satellite loop. So here's how cold the cloud tops are. It basically is going to show how intense this system is. So you see this well-defined low right here in the center of the storm, and then we have the outer bands just cycling around the storm. And this is right now over the Bahamas, where it looks to stay for at least 24 hours. It's going to just completely devastate the area. And if you live in the Bahamas, I don't know if I have any viewers from the Bahamas actually, but if you do know somebody from the Bahamas, or if you yourself live in the Bahamas, then make sure that you're taking action right now, because right now the tropical storm Dorian is right over your heads, and it's very intense right now. It's 185 miles per hour, a Category 5 right now, and it's just storm surge could be up to 20 plus feet. So it's just a very dangerous situation right now. Here we have our model tracks, and uh, here you can see like the model tracks are, we have a pretty good idea, except for this one light green model, which has been consistently going over Florida and then coming back out, and just changing a little bit. But if we get rid of that model, because many forecasters and me as well, I don't think that model is going to be accurate. So we have this cone of uncertainty anywhere from off the shore of Long Island, the Jersey Shore, and even into the Delmarva, anywhere off there, all the way into the Atlantic, and then making most models have it hitting Nova Scotia right up here later in the week, about 5 to 7 days out. Here's the GEFS models, and this is the ensemble models. So there's about 40 members, and they each forecast this storm. And so here's all the here's all the members of that, and you see how they're kind of well defined because they're mainly the same model, and they have it a bit more to the east than you do see with the other models. And they're making, if you look back here, there was a couple models that actually had it going up, kind of, that would be devastating for parts of Long Island, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. That would be devastating for those areas. But if it does move out to sea, then it would be way better, because there's not many land masses out to sea, and it would affect less people. If this storm was to move a bit inland, it would just be catastrophic. It would almost be a repeat of Sandy, but a bit worse. Hopefully that does not happen. And from these models to the GEFS, you can see how the GEFS is a bit more to the right. You do see how it's getting very close to the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida coast. Those areas could still be impacted with hurricane or tropical storm force winds over the next couple of days. Here is the GEPS models. These ones aren't as well defined. This is another ensemble model, so you kind of have this cone over here, and the GEPS has some that go closer to the shore, some that go farther out to shore. We usually don't look at this for the most accuracy. It's not the most accurate model, but I just want to show all the models because there's so many possibilities with this system, because it is so small. Like on this map, Dorian would only be about this big, and compared to other hurricanes, it's just not a very big system. And that's why we've had so much uncertainty with the system. We didn't know if it was gonna hit Florida, if it was gonna go off to sea, if it's gonna hit the Carolinas, if before we didn't know if it was gonna be a Category 1 or a Category 4 or a Category 5 or a Category 3. and there was just so much uncertainty. Luckily, we're clearing that up a little bit as time goes on and the models get a bit more certain, but currently it's not looking like that, and we do have a lot of uncertainty in these models still, even though we're only a couple days out. You do see that right now, this is the initial starting point. We're at winds of about 100 and I would say 60 knots. This is about 185, 190 miles, almost 190 miles per hour. And all these models have it in the category 5 status, and some, I would say about 4 or 5, have it staying in category 5 status for a longer time. These 4 models over here, these are the models that keep it out to shore, so it's still intensifying out to shore, and then it goes into Nova Scotia. This would be a bad scenario. It would be better if it does break up before, because if it goes out to sea, it's still gonna impact the coastal areas of Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. But then it's also gonna go up the coast, and impact areas more closer to the northeast and a bit more north, which aren't as prepared for this system because they just don't have they're not used to these type of systems, and that's why hurricanes that did come up the coast were devastating, even though they were weak systems. Here, I just want to show what these 5 different models have the storm making landfall at. This system, the GEM model, has it making landfall right around or Daytona Beach, I would say. And the GFS model has it more closer to Myrtle Beach around the Carolinas, more, southern North Carolina, extreme southern North Carolina, and the parts of South Carolina, the coastal areas. So those areas could be inundated with flooding and other, like wind speed, all that. The HWRF model has it a bit closer to the north, right around probably Jacksonville and around those other northern Florida cities. Here for the HWRF model, we have it again near Orlando, Daytona Beach area, and then the HMON model has it around more more southern, a bit closer to West Palm Beach, which is about down here, and I would say more central in the state. Here is this is like like an interactive map, I guess, and it shows all the watches and warnings, the wind speeds, and it even shows the chances of receiving sustained tropical. No, not it doesn't show that. But it does show the track. It shows all the watches and warnings. It shows if it's a major hurricane, just a normal hurricane. So we're just gonna quickly glance at that. Anywhere that you see highlighted, the key is down here, so you can look down here if you wonder what anything on this map means. And this red area, anywhere in this red area, that is a hurricane warning. So if you're in this, you're definitely, you're right over the hurricane, or you're right in the path of where most models are taking this hurricane. That includes parts of the northern Bahamas, even into the southern Bahamas, including Nassau and Freeport. Then we have, I believe I can't tell if that's storm surge watches. I believe that's actually hurricane watches and storm surge watches. I think it's both of them. Right along the Melbourne, Palm Bay, West Palm Beach, and then just north of Miami. Anywhere in there is seeing tropical storm watches or hurricane watches. And then if you just get around Boca Raton north, you're going to be seeing storm surge watches. And then we also have the wind field, and anywhere on that orange is where you're going to be seeing those hurricane force winds. Now, here's the cone of uncertainty. So this only goes out, I believe, 5 days. So anywhere in this blue area is where you could see that hurricane, and this is where all the models are taking it. It's basically this big cone. Anywhere in this cone could be where the center of the storm is. So the center of the storm could be right here, or it could have moved over the land and weakened. So anywhere in that cone of uncertainty, which is actually pretty big for a hurricane that's going to be impacting land only 2 or 3, maybe even 4 days out. So this is very uncertain for this close out. And you do see the M. If you see the M, it stands for a major hurricane, which is a hurricane that's category 3 or above, and it retains its major hurricane status all the way until it comes right about to Charleston, like just parallel to Charleston. That's when it turns back into below a category 2, according to the National Hurricane Center. Here is the chance of storm force wind speed, tropical storm force winds, and you have a 90% anywhere in this purple. Anywhere in the red, you have 70 to 90%, and in the oranges and yellows, you have 30 to 70%. So find your area if you are in here. You have just look down at the bottom. That's where your key is, right down here, and that's where and that's the percentage chance of you seeing a tropical storm force wind speed. And we even have that all the way up into central New Jersey, into parts of coastal New Jersey, and then parts of Long Island. That's a 5 to 10% chance, and as we get closer, it could either it could get a higher probability or a lower probability depending on where the models focus this track. But you do see for parts of southeastern Florida, for parts of like West Palm Beach, just north of Miami, I believe, and even parts of Daytona Beach, we're seeing almost a certain chance of seeing tropical storm force winds. Here are the hurricane force wind speed probabilities, and you see we have a 90% or above. This is the same key, by the way, so the same colors mean the same thing. So you have a 90% or above chance for parts of the northern Bahamas, where it's actually stalling out right now. This is where the storm is right now, that dot right there. Then the reds, 70 to 90%, yellows and orange, 30 to 70%, greens, 5 to 30%. So find your area, and that'll show you your percentage. We do have pretty high chances of hurricane force wind speeds, which is above 74 miles per hour, I believe, and that's about a 50 to 60, maybe even 70% for parts of extreme eastern Florida, probably part of some of those islands. Could see 60 to 70% chance of tropical hurricane force wind speed, which just shows how we're probably gonna see a track something like this make a landfall somewhere in central Florida, and then move up a little bit as it's weakened to probably a category 1 or 2, and then as it keeps on moving up into those colder waters that are from northern North Carolina northward, which are below 80 degrees. And if you didn't know, 80 degrees is it's the temperature at which hurricanes can form. So once they get into that colder water, that's when it should weaken a lot. Here are the timings with the tropical storm force wind speed probabilities, and this is a arrival time of tropical storm force wind speeds, and this only goes out 5 days. So here we see the eye is right over here, and anywhere parts of Florida and the Bahamas could see tropical storm force winds as soon as tomorrow night. So make sure that you have all your hurricane supplies ready. Make sure you have gas so you can fill up your car, and so maybe you could start your generator. If you haven't already, and you're being advised to, please evacuate your area. Put up your storm shutters, everything that you can just to prepare. Make sure they have the necessities such as water, dry foods, and make sure that you have an evacuation plan if you do need to use it. I would just recommend being prepared for this system, because it's really unpredicted, and no matter if you're in that 5% chance or if you're in that 90% chance, you should definitely be preparing, because this storm has been so unpredictable. Who knows, maybe tomorrow we find out it's going to be closer to southern Florida, or maybe tomorrow we find out it's going to be probably out to sea more. We really don't know, so that's why you need to be prepared no matter where you are, anywhere in this cone of uncertainty. Here is the rainfall potential. You see anywhere in that purple, that dark purple, is 20 plus inches. That's for parts of the northern Bahamas over there, and parts and anywhere in that pink, you're 15 to 20 inches. So you see that just around that purple area. Also for parts of the northern Bahamas, like Freeport is in that area. 10 to 15 inches is for parts of coastal Carolinas, and pretty much most of that 10 to 15 inch area is off the sea. It also impacts part of the Bahamas. That orange is 6 to 10 inches. That's when we start to get onto the more of the U.S. mainland, and that's where for parts of the coastal Carolinas and for almost Jacksonville, I believe, that's where you could see 6 to 10, I mean, inches of rain, which could definitely flood some roadways, and definitely could flood into your homes if you don't have like an elevated home. Which I know a lot of people actually do after there was a couple of big storms after Andrew, especially. They rebuilt to hurricane force wind speeds, and they took extra precautions. And then anywhere in those greens are 1 to 4 inches of rain over the next 5 days, I believe. Now, this is the key messages out from the National Hurricane Center. I am not gonna read all of these, but you can pause the video right here and read them. Basically, talks about the different risks such as rip currents. There's wind speed, flooding, storm surge. Talks about all that. So if you really want more detail, here I'll zoom it in a little bit. You can pause the video right here and go look at this and read it over. I definitely recommend doing this. I'm just not going to do that because it would extend the video a lot longer than it has to be. Anyways, guys, if you did enjoy that video, please subscribe and like the video. That really supports the channel. We hit 100 subscribers this week, so I really want to thank you guys for hitting that subscribe button and hitting the like button. We've just been getting a lot of support lately. Also, one special thing that I need to talk about is that I start school September 5th, and which is Thursday, and I won't be able to upload in the morning because my bus comes around 7 o'clock in the morning, so I won't be able to do any extremely early uploads. So instead, what I think I'm gonna do is after I come home at 2 o'clock, I'm gonna do my homework and then I'll try and make a video. I might have to miss a couple of days if I do have a lot of homework or have some after school activities or something like that, but I'll have to figure out my schedule a little bit later. I'll probably be able to upload, my videos will probably come out 4 to 5 p.m., sometimes 6 p.m., depends on my day, and sometimes even a little bit later than that. Hopefully I don't have to upload that late. But if I do, I definitely will, because I feel like it's important to keep you guys informed, because some of you guys don't watch the news frequently, or you guys rely on me for this information. So that's why I feel like it's important to make these type of videos. Anyways, guys, if you did enjoy, then again, subscribe and leave a like. That was Eli the Weather Guy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.